Hey everyone, what is up? So happy to have you back for another amazing episode of The Lounge. So, my hair is all sorts of crazy. That's okay, whatever. No worries. Let's just keep talking. We're going to break this down top 10 style. So in honor of top 10, let's bring out David Letterman's top 10 in the version of Barney Stinson.
Do we have time for this? Ladies and gentlemen, I have in my hand a copy of tonight's top 10 list, the category, top 10 things I would have called my truck.
It was never your truck.
If Ted hadn't been a jerk and given it back.
It was a rental.
Number 10, the Winnebago. Number 9, the pickup truck. Number 8, the Ford Explorer. Number 7, the U-Scream truck. U-Scream truck. Number 6, Feels on Wheels. Hello. Number 5, the Ride Her truck. Number 4, the 18 Squealer. Number 3, the Escalade. Number 2, the Slamboni. And the number 1 thing I would have called my truck if Ted hadn't been a jerk and given it back, the 69 Chevy. Sorry.
So, that's how we're breaking this down. It should be an absolute awesome night breaking down the top 5 mistakes that new collectors make. So I'm a new collector. I admit I am a noob when it comes to collecting. I've only been collecting for a short amount of time compared to a lot of other collectors. LP, good to see you. Tales of Grails and Comics and Collectibles, good to see you. Alex, how long have you been collecting for?
I've been collecting since
It'll be a year in November.
Okay.
Yeah. When
So
I started collecting again. I used to collect comics when I was a small kid, then stopped, and then I got back into it in November of last year when I realized it was Instagram auctions. And I checked them out for the first time. I checked. I know. Until I read an article about them. So I checked them out, and then it's like, oh, this is cool. Then my first comic book auction was from South Coast or South Coast Comics, Great South Coast Comics,
okay.
and he was the very first person I ever bought from. And then I came when I started collecting. I saw all these different comic book shows on Instagram, and then moved to YouTube. I was like, wow, there's a lot more comics I didn't even know about. That's how I
Yeah.
started. How about you? How did you start collecting again?
So I never collected as a kid. I grew up watching shows, movies, and whatnot with my dad and my family, and um, found out probably around when I was going off to college that my dad collected for years, but he didn't have any comics left. His brother sold most of them, my uncle, and that was basically that. And then fast forward to a couple months into dating my wife, um, we saw a comic book store and we just walked in and it was Chet's comic book store, Rhino's Comics. And pretty much the rest is history after that because we just kept going and going and going. And that was just a ton of
Nice.
fun to do. Yeah.
That's great that like both you and your wife enjoyed it.
Oh, for sure. We love comic shops. It is something that we enjoy doing together. She's the one who likes to do a lot of cover buys based on what she thinks looks nice. Typically, her cover buys end up paying off in the long run, and um, I guess it works out if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Um,
I wish I had the money to do cover buys.
you know, she just has a sixth sense. I don't know what it is. We were at Comics Etc. a couple years ago, and she saw the first appearance of Falcon as the Captain America, and just picked it up. She goes, "This cover is amazing. Like, this has to be a great comic. I don't know why you don't have it." And I'm like, "I don't know." And it was like $2. So I was like, "Sweet, pick it up. Do what you got to do. $2. I'm good buying a $2 comic off of a cover." And lo and behold, now it's like a $300 9.8.
Oh my God.
So I haven't sent it off yet, and I don't know if it still is post Winter Soldier blowing up and whatnot, but it is one of those books that I'm always going to wonder, is it going to continue to grow or will it kind of fizzle out like some of these other books have?
Yeah. Well, she needs to come on the show and teach us her ways.
Yeah.
Having that like getting that sixth sense. Or if I'm at a comic book shop, I'll just hit you up. Yo, Chris, show this to your wife. What did she think?
There you go. So huge shout out to Rhino's Comics real quick because as always they are a channel sponsor, and Chet and I
Woohoo.
are working on doing some fun stuff for you guys and whatnot. But more importantly, we need to get into the big top 5 reasons that you are going to want to know if you are a new collector or if you've started collecting and realized you're making mistakes. So we're going to talk about what the mistakes are, and then kind of how to get out of that cycle of making that mistake over and over. So Alex kind of brought up a 6-1, and that was what, Alex?
Not watching this stream. That's the
Yeah,
sixth
not
one. You gotta
watching this
watch the
video.
stream.
You
Yeah.
got to watch the
I mean,
stream in order to find this stuff out.
that should be number one.
But I think so. This is the reason why I put this at number 5 is because um, I don't think that I ever really looked at graded comics when I first started collecting, if that makes
Same.
sense. I
Yeah, that
think
that makes sense.
I started off doing a lot more like simple stuff, I guess is the best way to put it. And it was raw books that I thought were really cool covers, ones I wasn't sure if I was ever going to read. And I was like, I really like this book. I still say to this day, my Amazing Spider-Man 800 Delato variant is the most expensive $15 I ever spent, because all of this is because of that one book.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. Like, I didn't understand grading. Like, I remember, even though I collect until recently, I always went to the free comic book day every single year. And like I remember seeing like in the free comic book days, well, they don't show them anymore really as much. Though it used to be
Yeah.
advertisements for CBCS and CGC. I remember as like as a kid, it's like, oh, what are these? Like, what are these numbers? Like, why are they making such a big deal about encasing your comics? Like in my mind,
Yeah.
and even when I started collecting still, so like last year, I was like, comic books are meant to be wet. Like, why do people just want to encase them? Like, I get it, like, it's
Yeah.
display. I mean, like, but isn't that what the bags and boards are for? So I didn't
And
understand like the grading process and like how valuable some comics could be until like I think it was the YouTube when I started going to YouTube auctions when they were starting explaining what these grades were,
yeah.
and then I started understanding a little bit of how grading works and which company is better depending on who you ask.
Yeah. So, which company do you like better?
Um, I have never submitted a grading ever, but I want
Okay.
to. I'm saving up for it.
There you go.
That's my thing because I want to get something slabbed, like my Godzilla Kingdom of Monsters #1, Alex Ross. But I didn't know that was
Nice.
a valuable, like a good price book. And after all these
Yeah.
years, I've always been so worried because I've always kept it in bins. It wasn't bagged up, it was
Ah.
bag boarded. But I was like, oh shit. Like now I understand a little bit of grading. It's like, oh my god, it's damaged, and it's not. It's like a perfect, smooth. There's no ticks or anything. Like wow, like I think I just got lucky. These has been. I haven't really probably stored that book. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I think for personally, that was a long answer to get to. Like I think I would choose CBCS because
Okay.
after what hearing everything everybody was saying about it, and I was researching it myself too. Um, before I would have said CGC, but now thinking about like all the prices and everything, especially if I'm just, I guess like new too, like if you're on a budget, and don't have that much money,
Yeah.
CBCS is a good way. It's a little cheaper, and there's free membership. Because I looked on CGC, like you can't resubmit comics unless it's at a con for free, or I think they said something else. Other than that, you have to pay for membership. And the
So,
turnaround time was a little bit faster too.
and that was the weird thing with CGC. You do need a membership, and like that is a big thing for me because I save a lot of money each year submitting through my LCS. And since my LCS does CGC submissions, yeah, I pay a little bit more on the back end, but I also don't have to do all the customer service BS. I don't have to worry about wondering if my books made it, wondering if I'm going to need to call them and complain and all of that, because my LCS handles all that for me. And that's kind of like one of the things I learned early on was if you have that ability to submit through your LCS, do it.
Yeah,
And
my
the one
LCS
thing I
doesn't do that.
okay, and the one thing I do like about CGC is they allow you to um like if you buy their membership for the $150 or whatever it is, they give you $150 worth of free subscriptions
Yeah,
or not submissions. So you
yeah,
do
I
kind
read
of
about
get
that.
your money back. It is free, but at the same time, it's not free because you're paying up front instead of on the back end, basically.
Yeah, and I will say this about CBC, no, CGC. I appreciate that. I wish CBCS had done.
Mm-hmm.
They offer you packages. they give you shipments. Like they give you like a little beginner's box.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was really cool. Like they give you like a little collectible pen and pin, sticker, and everything. Wow. Um, CBCS doesn't. Like, what if you're a beginner? Like, how do you know how to
Yeah.
package it correctly and everything? I mean,
Yep.
like that's what I like about CGC. They give you everything, the lowdown, the video breakdown. And I even thought about it. If I get a CGC shipping kit, is CBCS going to accept it? to like, in my mind, I was thinking that I was like, because other than that, like you kind of going in it blindly, and you want to make sure you have the right packaging, and everything.
Yeah. Are they gonna blow me in?
Yeah.
How dare you sign up for both?
I would be like, oh, like fuck it, we're just gonna give him for free. This is a really smart idea. No one
Yeah.
has ever done this. Oh no, like you said, it might be on the news. CGC and CBCS has done their first ban on this kid right here. Just some photo of me in a hot dog costume. Because you know they choose. You know sometimes on the news they choose the weirdest photos
Yeah.
of you. Not even they don't even choose the best photos. Submitted by Chris at the
100%.
Comics Lounge.
What's up, Castle Runner? Good to see you. So right
I
now we're
guess I
talking
wanna.
about not understanding grading, CGC or CBCS. Either way you go, it's daunting. It's a process, and it's like, okay, one
Oh,
of the
when did you
biggest
learn about
things.
grading?
So I learned about grading probably 4 years into collecting,
Ooh.
and I honestly didn't have a CGC book until COVID. Actually, it might have been a little bit before that. It was whenever I got my Nova. So just before COVID, I want to say, probably like uh, September, October before COVID.
Oh
And
yeah.
so again, still a long time into my collection process because as I said, like I started collecting way back in 20 my wife and I met in 2015, so 2016 is when I started collecting. And it's
Wow,
like
still in high school.
yeah, so that it was just a big step to kind of even go out of the way and like, yeah, I was getting that sticker shock as well as um that like what the hell am I looking at right now with a slab. I'm like, and people are talking about slabs on Facebook groups and
Yeah.
everything else, and I'm like, what is a slab? What are you talking about? And then of course you end up getting sucked into it. And you go from having one slab to 5 slabs to 10 slabs to 20 slabs. And
It's
you're
kind of
like,
like
okay,
puppies. You
this
can't
needs
just
to
have
stop.
one.
Yeah,
You get one dog and you want more.
exactly. Like I went from the Nova I have to having that giant stack of them. I'm getting a book or a box for them right now.
Ooh, I see those.
That stack.
I thought that was a box at first.
I've got this stack right here of 5
Oh Jesus
that I
Christ.
did the
Oh my God.
unboxing of. 3 of them are part of my giveaway, my 1,000 subscriber giveaway, so that will get 3 of them off my plate. But
That's
also
impressive though.
not understanding what that even means, not understanding the grading process. I was talking to someone and I was just like, I have these books. I don't want them anymore. I want to get rid of them. And I started talking to a couple guys locally. I'm like, well, here it says this book is worth 80 at a 9.8. So I would like 40. I think it's a 9.8. I think it's going to grade really well. I'd like 40 for the book. And someone who was also there stepped in and he goes, whoa, hold on a second. You can't ask 9.8 and 9.6 prices for an ungraded book. And I go, but that's what it's worth. And they go, no, it has to be graded to be worth that much. And I had
Yeah.
no idea. I'm like, oh, I had like, what? You're telling me that I have to get it graded, pay $20 to see if it's worth 40?
Yeah.
Okay.
I learned that too. when I tried to my beginning stages of selling. I'm still in my beginning stages of selling, but beginning stage of selling. I try to do the
Yeah.
same thing. It's like I see this book. There's like no ticks or anything. Well, now I'm using terminology that I know, but back then I was thinking there's nothing wrong with it. It looks smooth. That's how I saw it. Like pointy edges.
Yep.
Like like I looked it up. Like a 9.8 or something like that. Like it's like $20. And I tried to do that. Then luckily one of my
Yeah.
comic book friends, she told me it's like you have to lower that price. I was like why? And then I asked like she was very kind about it. She was telling me, explaining to me like it's because it's not like what you just said. You can't be selling it at a graded price if it's not graded.
Yep.
And I thought, and I had the same confusion. I was like, huh, that's weird.
Yeah. Why? What do you mean I can't? What? What?
Yeah, like even like
And
on
it,
Key Collector, like that's what I use. That's what I use. It's
yeah.
like okay, it says like it's $20, um, but you can't sell it for $20 if it's not slabbed.
Yeah.
Or even if it's like a polybag, you unless it's like dead mint or close to, like you can't sell it for that much. She's like, oh,
Oh, Kessler, is that supposed to say love or live?
oh my gosh,
I think it's
if you
love key
collectors watching us,
collectors. No, for sure. Like it's one of those things where, and I think the key collectors does do a good job of using the ungraded, the raw price. And that was also another thing, like trying to figure out what all these acronyms were, what all of the different um what's it called? Like sayings were, like slab
slang.
Wednesday. Yeah, all the slang
Yeah,
that goes with it.
like I didn't know
And
what the slang was either.
yeah, like LCS, I was like, well, I go to my comic shop and they're like, yeah, your LCS, what is it? I'm like, what's LCS? They're like, your local comic shop. I was like, oh, that makes
Oh yeah,
sense.
it took me a while to get that. I never asked, but it was till much more like when someone said LCS and someone said local comic book shop, I was like, oh, it clicked. Like, oh my God, that's what it means. Just like with
And
like
then
options to like bin.
yeah.
For the longest time, I did not know what it meant. I thought bin meant like you just like get something and put it in a bin. And I
Mm-hmm.
like, but then it was an acronym for buy it now. I remember Max Comics. She was doing auction, and she had it. She wrote bin with the periods in between. That's how I knew it was an acronym. She said buy now, and then they
Yeah.
click. I even said in the chat like, "Oh my God!" in all caps. I just realized bin means buy it now.
You should send her the link right now to this so that way she knows that we're talking about her.
In a good way.
um no, for sure.
No, yeah,
So
no,
in an
she's actually hosting an auction right. Oh, she's part of an auction at this time right now.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um so going off of that, I had always seen, so like Bin City. I just Bin City. It was capital BIN, capital CITY all together. Um and then he moved into other stuff and he had capital BIN, and then other people on his lives where they were like auctioning and doing bins and all that were lowercase BIN. And I'm like, okay, so is bin just like, oh, this is like a bin of comics, this is a stack
Yeah,
or
that's
a
what I thought.
one stack, or because usually when I saw a bin it was more than one book. So I
Yeah.
thought the same thing, and then someone's like, oh, this is the buy it now price, and I'm like, oh, buy bi oh, bin. I feel like an idiot.
Yeah, you just had that like realization, like, oh.
That eureka moment.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, this is what it means.
Mm-hmm.
And I was too afraid to ask too, because like all these people was like I've been buying from them. I was like, oh yeah, I'm like 2 months in the game. I don't want to sound stupid by asking what bin, even though I've been
Yep.
claiming stuff. But yeah, it is funny. It's funny when you realize it, and it's a good feeling too when you find out on your own too. It's like, Yay.
Oh yeah. It's an even better feeling when you realize that all new collectors go through the same thing,
Oh
and
yeah, that was a
no one
relief too.
tells them when they're getting into this that Ben is Buy It Now, LCS is local comic shop. Like you kind of just figure it out along the way. I
Oh
can't
my
remember
God,
what I
Chris, you should do
was.
this. You should make a sheet and post it
Yeah,
on your Instagram. Because I don't think anyone has ever done that. You
probably
could be the
not.
first, like saying, new collecting like form, all the
Yeah,
acronyms you need to know.
but I got so much crap when I said how to get a bunch of books, um, how to get keys for cheap, and people are like, "Don't give away our secrets." I'm like, other people want to collect too. Shit.
Yeah, like I enjoyed those videos. Like, holy shit!
Yeah,
It's like this
I'm
is
thinking about
amazing.
doing 2 more parts to that and kind of going off of like showing how to do it, like where to go and what to look for. And
Live
then
stream is like, here I am at a con.
yeah.
This is how you bargain in real life. Spy
So
cam.
and like there's a festival coming up that I'm going to be going to,
Ooh,
not next week, I think the weekend after. The same festival that I went to earlier this summer is doing their second annual, or not annual, their biannual or whatever you want to call it. Um, so hopefully I'll be able to get a few subscribers out of that and pass out a few cards and all that fun stuff. But more importantly, find some gap filling books for a good price. Last time I went, I got a
yeah.
ton of books that were $1, $2, and $3. And it was an easy way to dive into collecting and realize this doesn't need to break the bank. You don't need to be this downright bankrupt person collecting comics.
I declare bankruptcy!
That doesn't need to be what it is. So that leads into number 4, not letting the hobby fund itself. You have to let this hobby fund itself. You're going to grow out of some books. You're going to buy books that you no longer understand why the hell you ever bought them in the first place.
Oh yeah.
And that's when it becomes a time to either sell them off or trade them. And one of the things that I love to do is try to sell them on Instagram. I haven't gotten into Whatnot yet. I've thought about it, but I don't have a big enough following on there, and I don't have enough time to get into it.
You should
And
try
then more important,
Macari.
okay.
I,
And then
I
more
I've been using
importantly,
Macari. Yeah.
oh yeah, good
Yeah,
to know.
and it works well. You just have to gauge it though, because if you want to get $10 out of a book, you have
Mm,
to gauge it. Like you have to ask for 12 or something, 13, because they do take fees out. But it's not as
yeah,
much as eBay as I heard, as I researched.
okay.
So yeah, that's the only thing you have to like think about. Like, because if you want to get $10 out of it and you put $10, you got to get eight in
See, and that's the other
reality.
thing with not letting the hobby fund itself, knowing where to sell and where not to sell.
Mm.
Instagram, great place to sell because there is
Oh yeah,
no trail. You're selling and you're keeping it within the community. So you're not a business. You're just kind of you're doing what everyone does when they get bored of something. You're selling it to the next person who's going to love it and enjoy it and all of that. But also knowing how to sell. And this is one of the
yeah.
things that I still struggle with to this day is pricing my comics and
Oh
figuring
yeah,
out
same.
how much is a book worth. Because there's times where I'm like, okay, there's an eBay sale for $5, $15, $20. This $20 might be a fluke, but so might that $5. So if I price it at like 10, it should sell no problem because 5, 15, and 20, I split the difference and I'm actually under the average. So I should be good. And then the book doesn't sell. And you're like, so either no one wants it or it's too high of a price.
Yeah.
But I don't think it is because people want it on eBay. I think you
Mm.
also the other issue is having that following too, being known as the
Yeah.
person who sells books.
Yeah,
So
that's what I did. Like on Instagram, I
yeah,
tried selling some books on Instagram. None of them sold because
yep,
like when I was thinking like I probably don't have the following yet.
yeah,
Um, but that's why I went to Macari. I went to Macari because like anyone could see it, and I had luck from there. But again, yeah, it's always the issue of how to price it. Because
yeah,
some like I agree with you. 'Cause I did that too in the beginning. It's like I looked on eBay. Like, what do I look for? Like, I know some of my friends told me check out the sold prices
yep,
or to look at the lowest prices and gauge from there, see how much, like what you were saying, like the highest and low, trying to find a
yeah.
midway point. Yeah, it is always really hard, especially at the beginning to sell. How do you gauge the comics?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to sell it for too low or too high or yeah,
So, and I've got a stack of books that I want to sell right now and whatnot, but what I'm actually thinking about doing is taking them to my shop and saying, how much is this stack worth to you? And can I give you this stack and take a stack of equal value out of your store? And I think that's kind of one of the best ways to do it if your local comic shop will allow you to,
yeah,
because yes, they're getting new inventory, but they're also not making any money on inventory. So it's
mm,
kind of a weird, it's a trade, but at the same time, it's an easier trade than finding someone for that specific book because that's
yeah,
not your job anymore. Your
yeah. And I
job
think
is
also
to
that would
get
work.
those books out.
Yeah, that would work if you have a good relationship with your LCS.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure if you just like gone in there like two times, like, hey, because they'll probably think like, why am I not going to make money off of you?
Yep.
Like if I don't
There's
really
been
know you.
times, yeah, there's been times where I bought duplicates of a book on New Comic Book Day, and then it was in my folder, in my pull box for that weekend or the next week, and I was like, did I pick this up? I thought I picked it up. I thought I read it. I know I love the cover because I've seen it on previews and all those other places, but I don't know if I picked it up. So I'll pick it up, I'll take it home, and I'll say, I'll start looking through stuff as I'm reading. I'm like, why do I have a duplicate of this? And if I don't want it, I take it back to my LCS. I say, this was an accidental duplicate. Can I put it back on the shelf and get a different book? And because you already paid for a book, the comic shop, as long as it's equal value, isn't losing any money.
Yeah.
They've already sold that book in their mind. It doesn't matter to them. They don't keep track of which ones they sell and don't sell. Theoretically, I should say.
Yeah.
They kind of do more of the, what's up, Joe? Good to see you, buddy. They
Hey
kind of do
Joe.
more, at least at my comic shop. Um, they do that style where it's like, okay, these are the new comics that are selling. These are the back issues, and they use the Square app to keep track of all of it. But it's not like they're saying, oh, yes, we just sold Thor 18. Oh, yes, we just sold this. Oh, yes, we just sold that. It's when you run out of stuff that you say, okay, this was a really popular book. I'm going to get the second printing.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
Joe, right now we're talking about we're talking about the big five issues for comic shops, and we're at number 4 right now, which is not letting the hobby fund itself by selling books that you no longer want or trading them for books you want. And I think
Yeah.
that
I would
also,
say. Oh.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just saying. I think another thing too is like if you, because I know like some older issues could get expensive depending on popularity and
Yeah.
everything. Sometimes well, I recently started. I know I told you I recently started buying omnibuses or
Mm-hmm.
omnibuy or I don't even know what the plural is. Um, like sometimes that could be cheaper if getting like a whole one collections actually
Yeah.
been like if it's been out for like a few years, actually going a popular series and going back and buying older issues. Like, I don't know, that's something I realized too. Oh shit.
Trades are your friend when you are a new collector. It is okay to not have single issues.
Yeah, because that could yeah, that's actually a good advice that I was given. It was actually from Max too. She said if you're on a budget or if you don't want to spend that much, sometimes trades and omnibuses or could be much cheaper than buying individual issues or trying to find those.
He is an
Yeah.
amazing owner, Kessel Runner. Gotta say,
Yeah.
I'll shout him out one more time real quick. Rhinos Comics, go follow them on Facebook.
Yeah.
Rhinos Comics in New York.
Do they have an
You know
Instagram?
what's up. Yeah, they do.
I'm gonna look that up right now so I can follow them.
Instagram and Facebook. So going off of not letting the hobby fund itself and having issues that you already have or collecting issues that you don't need and realize that you didn't want, I think that gets into this next one is collecting Fast and Furious, also jumping the gun, really getting into comic collecting either for the wrong reasons because you're just trying to get rich quick, and no comic collector has ever gotten rich quick. I can tell you that right now. And you just start collecting so Fast and Furious that you're like, shit, I already have 4 of these books. And they're worth nothing. And I overpaid.
Yeah, I completely agree. I made that mistake. I made that mistake. Jumping the gun on some
Everyone
books.
does.
And I'm gonna mention Max one more time because he actually helped me figure out how to budget and stuff with comics. Because
Yeah.
I think she saw a trend with me at one point. It's like it looks like you're just doing impulse buying. It's like, oh my god, I am jumping the gun on some things, and then and I realized I did, like you said. At one point, I realized I have 3 of the same issues. They were just
Yep.
different covers. I was like, oh my god, I felt so stupid at the end. Like I should have paid more attention. Yeah, that's always a good thing. It's like don't jump the gun on things. Don't slow your roll.
Yeah.
You don't need to be Dom Toretto and just go speed.
It is all about family, though, right?
Yeah, because it's a comic book family.
Yeah. Stay nerdy, comic fam. But yeah, it's one of those things where you don't want to dive in too deep too quick, and you got to learn to walk before you can run, and you got to really understand that you're never going to be able to collect every single issue of something.
Mhm.
It's just that way. There's going to be issues that are way far out of your budget. There's going to be things that you're going to eventually get to, and then you're going to be like, what the hell's the point? Like, I was thinking about it the other day. Why the hell do I need Amazing Fantasy 15 in my collection? Just so it can sit on a shelf and never be read? Like,
yeah.
I don't want to
I'm
do
glad you brought
that.
that up.
I
Yeah,
could,
'cause-
if I really want to read it, I could go read it.
Yeah, like Amazing Fantasy, like I got the omnibus. I
Yeah.
collect everything up until 15. Like I said, like I still have it. Like I'm completely fine not having the first print. As
Yep.
long as I have the story with my Reach, and I also have like a reprint too that I bought back in 2018, I think. 18, yeah, or
Yep.
17. Because it was one of my brother's sister first moved up here in Marseille. Because it was one of my first. It was my first purchase from a comic book shop in Marseille, not in Santa Barbara where my comic shop was. And it was $1 True Believers Amazing Fantasy 15. And I was like, oh sweet, I have the story. It may not be the first thing, but I have the story. And I like how you bought facsimiles too, like.
Yep.
For as many as midnight.
I've been debating buying that for the past like 3 months because I've seen it in my local comic shop. And the only thing that sucks is that it's a facsimile and not True Believers. Because I'm like, do I want to pay $4 just to have the original stuff? So for those of you who don't know, and since this is a comics noob talk, the difference between a facsimile and a true believers is the True Believers is just a reprint of the story. Everything in it is completely modern. except
and
for
no
the
ads.
story. Yep, the ads
Yeah.
are modern. The back cover's modern. The front cover has True Believers across the top. Alex, can you show that Werewolf by Night one more time?
Yeah, I was looking through it inside so I could show an example of what the old ads are.
Yeah.
Like cover and
Everything on that
inside,
is straight up
right.
from when it came out.
Yeah, you get that
Yep.
impossible bodybuilding, even at the back. Everything's like a complete reprint. Even the
Yeah.
ads like are so old school. Like I think it's pretty cool to have it, but again, you have to pay like $4. Like even like these old school
Yeah.
ads with coupons. I wonder if anyone's ever tried to do a coupon off of a facsimile before. That'd be funny to know. I was like, what do you mean it's not? What do you mean it's been expired for 30 years?
Yep.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, damn, I wish they still do these. You could get a
Yeah.
superhero shirt. Like these look cool. But
Yep.
yeah, facsimiles, like what Chris is saying, everything that was the original comic is in here. And it's like the new gloss. What do you call it? Like gloss pages? Like what the
Yeah,
new
pretty
comic
much.
books are? Yeah,
Yep.
it won't be paper, but it looks like it's all enhanced colors and everything.
Yeah. And it's really the only difference between a facsimile and the original is the type of paper that's being used because it's more modern and it will last a little bit longer, hopefully. Obviously, we have no idea. And that's why I wonder how a modern book that's made with modern paper, even from the early 2000s, can be non-white pages. Because typically in a lot of these books, there's not very many white pages. Like
Oh
everything is
yeah,
colored now. There's no like edges anymore. If you look at an old book, everything has edges. Like this splash page, and it's not even a real true splash page. Every corner is
it's
filled with
filled.
art. Like even the middle is completely filled with art. Everything.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. It's like, how are they going to grade something? I was like, yep, it's full color.
Yeah. Like this splash page, this full page fight scene
Oh, I like that art. That looks awesome.
is just
Yeah.
margin to margin. There's no margins, I should say. Everything is covered. So how are you going to tell me that's an off-white page in the next 20 years? That's like, I wonder what they're going to do, or if it's going to change the grading. If it's no
Here
longer
we
going to
go.
be white pages, it's going to be like
Yeah,
different.
this is what I was trying to find.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. That the off-white page, yeah, that's true. Is like, what are they going to say? Just colors are intact, or
Yeah.
yeah, like right
Pages
there,
are
just to
mint.
go back. Yeah, like for like True Believers is no ads at all,
Yep.
unless you get to like unless they break it up. 'Cause I know this one was like part one and part two. Like
Okay.
there we go, part two, and there's no ads at all. Yeah, that's what True Believers are. And some of the True Believers, like I think, yeah, they add like an extra issue, don't they, or like some extra story in the background.
I believe so. What's on the back cover of True Believers?
It's Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. So whatever
This
was
honestly
coming
looks like
out
a,
when
if you was the other
that book came
Miles
out.
2017, this honestly looks like a cool
Yeah.
thing. I know this one after Amazing Fantasy, it comes with this issue. Um, the Armored Avenger teams up with Spidey, and I think it comes from the advertising stories from this trade paperback.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why I also noted. On some True Believers, it's do straight up just the original story. That's it. I think this one
Okay.
only came with two stories because Spider-Man's first story wasn't that long. It wasn't a full um, length
Yeah, it was
comic.
really short
Yeah.
because he basically got a cover and then an origin, right? It was like maybe
Yeah.
5 or 6 pages, I think. I don't know the exact
Um,
number, but it was very small.
let, Let me check because I still have omnibus in front of me. But while I do that,
Um,
you can continue.
so basically, and one of the biggest things that I feel like a lot of people jump into is thinking I have to spend a bunch of money on this in order to be successful in this hobby, and in order for people to look at me like I'm a true collector. But that's
Hmm.
not it at all. It's collect what you want, talk to people, and build relationships. Those are the three
Hmm.
things you need to do. I don't care if you collect stuff that I don't give a shit about because what's up, Pocan Joe? Good to see you.
Hey, Boganjo.
I don't care if you don't collect or if you collect stuff that I don't give a shit about, and I don't care if you don't like what I collect. That's not my end game. I collect what I want to read. At the end of the day, I'm absolutely loving Kang. I'm absolutely loving the current run of Moon Knight. Like this is phenomenal. Someone else
Yeah, I
might
still need to
say
pick up
that
my
Marvel,
comics.
yeah, someone else might say that Marvel's writers are just failing right now, but the ones who are going off are going off. Like it is phenomenal writing. And
Yeah.
you don't have to spend $1,000 the first time you show up at your local comic shop. In all
Mm.
honesty, you should spend maybe a total of $50
Yeah,
because it's
I
all
agree.
about the relationship you're building that first time you show up.
Yeah.
There's certain comic shops I will not go back to. And I don't know what it is. There's one when I was down close to New York City, not in New York City, but just outside of it, about an hour outside, that the guy in there was, you could tell that he didn't care about comics, that he was just a
What the fuck?
person who collected what he liked and did not care about building a comic community in his shop. He had
Uh,
no back issues. He had no silver, bronze, or copper age issues. All of his new issues were 3 weeks old, and he got shipments in 3 weeks late somehow. I don't understand why or how that even works. But
yeah, that's so weird.
yeah, I asked him, "Where's your new issues?" Because typically when you're near New York City, there's some variants that kind of trickle out of New York City, and he had no issues for that week. I was like, "Where's Venom?" And I think it was like Venom 19 at the time. It's like, "Where's Venom 19? What? Why isn't it on the shelf?" He goes, "I didn't get that in yet." I go, "So what am I doing here, bro?" And there's kids walking around this shop the whole time and buying the toys that he's selling and whatnot, but no one was buying a comic. I don't think I saw one comic cross that um, counter in the 20 minutes we were in there looking around.
Yeah, sometimes a
And
lot of comic book shops. I've been I've been to a couple that had more like action figures, toys, statues, collectibles
yeah,
than comics, and yet they is considered a they advertise as comic book shop.
yep.
And it's kind of absurd. No, like I understand it, but like don't at least say comic book and collectibles.
Mm-hmm. See,
Because
and that's what I
I think it
like
was
about Rhinos is he's
yeah,
not a comic book shop. He's Rhinos, comics, and collectibles.
yeah,
He's got all of the new issues. He's got all of the back issues. He's got 50 centers. He's got pops. He has a whole wall of just pops. He has two full walls in the back of his shop of just toys and collectibles. And then, like,
yeah,
above everything of comics, there's collectibles. Like,
yeah.
he
I think
does
another
it so well.
yeah. I was just saying I think another thing you should be like uh I think it's like rule of thumb. Be careful who you give your business to. Make sure you give it to the right people and everything. Because I remember I would never go back to this comic book shop in Ventura, California. Um, I don't know if it's even the same owner or not, but I remember when I was young, I was a kid, and it stuck with me for years, and rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
My family and I went in there, and the comic book owner kept following us around and even pretending Like when my mom caught him. I didn't notice. My mom told me this because I was just a kid, but she told me that when she would look back and we would pretend to look through stuff or organize stuff, and it was simply because we were brown, and
Wow.
and it was clear because there's my mom said there was other white people, and I remember seeing white people there, and
Mm-hmm.
my mom knows that he let them be. It was
Yeah.
only us, even though like I still remember the day my mom said, let's go. And I was like, what? Like, I didn't even get to get anything. She's like, let's go. I went to you in the car. And that stuck with me. And that's like, just because it's a comic book shop or you need to get something, but if they don't treat you right or treat their customers right, if you see someone not treating people differently based on what they look like or just who they are,
Yep.
like, they don't deserve your business at all. I think that's the thing that, uh, like, there's always other comic book shops. Well,
Yeah.
that's saying like that's the thing. Like you should always be wary of who you give your money to. Like to
There's.
this day, I never stepped foot in that comic book shop, even though before COVID, I used to go down there because my family lives in Ventura, my extended
Mm-hmm.
family. I never went to that comic book shop ever again.
So there's two local comic shops that I will never go back to. The first one, my brother-in-law had just gotten back from Korea when he was serving over there, and it was myself, his current girlfriend, and my wife when we were still dating. And we were like, oh, there's like before we go out drinking tonight, let's go to the comic book shop in town. We walk in.
Yes.
My brother-in-law is like nerding out hardcore. There was a Deadpool statue, a Green Lantern piggy bank, a Deadpool piggy bank. He's like, oh my God, look at this. Oh my God, look at this. Look at this. I want that. Oh my God, look at this. Oh my God. Like just all over the place. Like just straight up nerdy as can be. Like I to this day, I have still never seen him as nerdy as he was that day. And he took the Deadpool one and walked over to the counter and said, hey, how much is this? And the guy looks at him and goes, please don't touch the merchandise. And he looks at him like, and how the hell am I supposed to buy something? So he sets it down on the counter and looks at me, looks at my wife, looks at his girlfriend. We all put down what we were looking at and walked right out of the store. And I'm
Yeah.
like, all he was asking a question. And you immediately ruin the sale by telling him not to touch the merchandise because he's nerding out and because he's so energetic in your small shop. Like, we're in our
Yeah.
20s. We're not like these idiot teenagers who are going to like ruin your shop and ruin your stuff on purpose. We're genuinely interested in buying this stuff and collecting this stuff. Like we had the
Yeah.
money to buy it. It wasn't that wasn't the problem. It was $5 we ended up finding out for that Deadpool piggy bank.
Well, that's
And
sort of like that. Like just somebody's attitude too. How they
yeah,
respond because it's ruined a whole vibe. Like wow. Like so it's
yeah,
just saying. Like he didn't even say please. Like what the fuck? Just don't please. Just
yep,
like just don't touch the merchant.
yeah.
Yeah,
And then
I'm
so
sorry
then the
that
other
happened.
one, yeah, I hated it because I had heard such good things about the shop and like they had really good back issue boxes and whatnot. So I was excited to go, and then that just kind of put a bad taste in my mouth for the rest of the time. The other one, real quick, I was working downtown and heard that there was like a comic shop a mile away. So I walk in, and my coworker was working with me, and she had never seen comic books before. So I started explaining to her, I was like, these are really great. You could use them in in your classroom. You just have to watch out for the different like ratings. There's just like a movie, there's ratings on comic books. And you want to make sure that you're buying something that's kid friendly because she was teaching second grade. So there was one in a back issue box that was from like 2015, and this was like 2019. So, and I open it up and I take it out and I show her and I start flipping through it. I'm like, so this is what you would look for. This is where you would look. And I'm just teaching her. And the guy goes, sir, if it's in a bag and board, it does not come out of the bag and board until it is bought. And I said, I'm sorry. That's never been a rule at any comic book shop I've ever went to. So I did not know that. And I was still new to collecting at that time, so it wasn't like I had ever heard that before. And most comic shops will take it out for you and show you, like, this is a really nice copy. There's no color break on it, there's no spine ticks. Here, look at the back. Like, this is why I would say it's this grade. Like, they'll talk to you about the book. They won't sit there and be disrespectful to you. So then I said, hey, do you have the first appearance of Venom and the first appearance of the Black Suit? I'm looking for these books. I'm really excited to buy them. Let me know. What's up, hoarders?
Elders.
I really want to know if you have them. He goes, here's the binder. So I start flipping through the binder to see if these two books are in there. They were. And he goes, okay, they're in this box. Let me go grab it. And we're on our hour lunch right now. So we're about half an hour into that lunch. And I'm looking through the box and I find like 5 books that I was just absolutely in love with, all Amazing Spider-Man books. And I bring them over to him and I said, okay, I don't see a price tag on these because knowing like Rhinos, everything is priced. He immediately looks at me and goes, I don't put price tags on it. And I go, okay, so what are they worth? And he goes, well, what are they worth to you? I said, no, this is your shop. I want to know what they're priced at. He gets out that big pricing guide and says, let me look them up. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Never in all of my years of collecting, and again, this is only like 4 years at the time, never in all of those years have I ever had an LCS owner break out a pricing guide to price their books in front of the person. For the 300, he said, in the state it was in, he's like, okay, it's raw. It's probably going to go for 60. And it was really, really bad shape. So I was like, I don't know if I want if I want to pay 60 for that. I know that I'm going to have to pay like extreme amounts anyways to get a really nice copy, but I really don't want to pay $60. This was like a 3.0 copy. Just a lot of color break, a lot of spine ticks, a lot of folds in the pages and whatnot. Definitely a well-read copy. The 252, he then like looks at that. That was pretty mint, and he said $50. And then the other ones, he was like, okay, this is about 10, that's about 12, and this is about 20. And I go, okay, so let's make a deal. All 5 books right now, $200. He's like, I just told you close to 300 or 250, I think it was. I'm like, yeah, I'm buying 5 books from you. You told me that you asked me what they're worth to me. You told me what they're worth to you. I think 200 would be fair. $40 a book. Like, come on. Or yeah, $40 a book, if my math is correct. And I'm a math teacher, guys, so it's been a long day. So I said to him, 200, and like that wasn't an issue for me. The extra 50 wasn't an issue. And he goes, nope, my price is final. And I go, I'm gonna have to think about it. He goes, they might not be here by the time you come back. And I looked at him and I said, I might not come back. And I walked out of there. I said to my coworker, I was like, I'll show you a different comic shop, like right in front of him. I was like, I'll take you to Rhinos. I love it there. And we walked out. I have never been back into that store ever since because it left a bad taste in my mouth. Like,
yeah, it's like that attitude is like, my price is final. It's like, man, you don't have to like say it like that. Like he asked you like, what are they worth to you?
To me, yeah.
It's like, if he said that to you, like he said that first.
Yeah.
Like he should have been. I remember in my mind, I was like, you're saying, it's like, he should have just made the deal. Like that would have been like fine. At least he wasn't like asking, yeah, like I paid $20 for all these. Yep. Like then I'll be like, then I understand like why he'll be kind of irritated. But that's a good deal. Like it was 250 out of 200. Like that's not much of a loss, really. Like especially if you're asking somebody what they worth to you, and you can clearly tell if someone's interested in these books.
Yep.
Like you would think like if you're a comic book shop owner, I get it, like somebody more like my money, but if you see someone who's passionate about these books, like you will want like
Yeah.
to make a deal with them. Like you can see their passions. Like this is what comic book collecting is. Like, if anything, like that's why you have a shop because those
Yeah.
collectors out there.
And if I
Wow.
spend $200 today, I'm gonna spend another $200 in a week or two. Like that's if this is how we're gonna do business together, then I'm gonna keep doing business. Like that's just how it works. But
Yeah. Like you have to build like I guess it's people just don't understand like it's important to make relationships.
yeah,
It's okay to like in your mind lose some money, but as long as you go to get a repeat customer.
yeah. And to not keep those books in front of the public, like he had to go into the back room, find the box they were in. I'm like, I feel like that's just weird. Like they should be out
Yeah.
so people can thumb through them and see what you have.
I thought it was weird
Like
that
all he had
he
out.
gave you a catalog to
Yeah.
look through. I thought in my mind I was like, that's kind of weird. Like I can't imagine that.
Like all I said to him was, "Hey, I'm looking to fill a couple gaps. Um, I'm looking for Return of the Sinister Six. I really love that. Or I need to fill one book from that." He goes, "I don't know the issue number." I was like, "I think it's like 332." Like, really, right now, like you need to know the exact issue number to go get the box.
Yeah, like
And
and plus
just
I think
to,
like back to customer service, I mean
yeah,
like you tell it's your job to like okay, you have a binder, okay, if you don't know it, like it's your job to look through the binder. Don't make the customer like don't be
mm-hmm,
like here look through it. And I was like if that's your job, I mean like I don't work here. It's
yeah.
not my fault that I don't know this is on my head. Like you should be the one being there and looking through it. It's like, oh I have it, let me go get it.
And this was a Wednesday at noon during the summer. So, new comic book day at noon during the summer when not many people are working. And on a day when most collectors go into a shop, my coworker and I were the only two people in that shop for the
Oh, that
whole
says something.
40 minutes we were in there. Like, that's
Wow.
depressing. I
Yeah,
don't know
like
how he makes money, honestly.
yeah, like my
But
comic book shop, like on Wednesdays, especially in the mornings and then more in the afternoon, is always filled. Like, cause you get the
yeah,
collectors like, oh, it's new comic book day, not a new comic book day, and not like they're there for new comic books, but then they also stay to look at the other ones.
yep.
I never seen that place
So,
empty.
to contrast that story with Rhinos, which is my channel sponsor, I went in there once and there was a book that my wife wanted so badly. And I was looking at it and I'm like, okay, $35 for a modern raw issue, non variant, or actually it was a variant, but it was like, it wasn't like a 1 in 25, it wasn't a 1 in 50. And I kept looking it up. I'm like, okay, if this issue goes down in price, I'm all for it. And finally, I was like, you know what? $35 is a good price because I keep seeing it go for like 30 on eBay. So if I pay shipping, it's going to be about the same. But then I looked at a 9.8 and it was only going for about 40. So I said to Chet, I'm like, hey, I'm seeing this go for between 20 and 30 on eBay. I would rather support local than support some guy I've never met on eBay.
Hmm.
Would you take $20 for this comic? And he goes, it's been sitting there for quite some time, taking up space in the shop. How about 25 and we have a deal? I said, sold. Sweet.
Oh, that's good.
Let me
That's good
go.
customer service.
Yeah. And I
Like
showed
you
him
could have
the
said like
evidence.
no.
I was like, this is where I found this these listings. All of them said about 20, 25, 30. And I also said, and it's just not going for a huge price at a 9.8, but Rachel loves the cover. He goes, if it's for Rachel, 25, no problem. Like, you should have just said that first. And honestly, dude,
Oh,
it has
that's
been a
really
long week, VK. If you
oh,
still want to
yeah,
jump
interesting.
on, you're
Hi,
more than
VK.
welcome, my friend.
Oh, I
Um,
love that story. I love that story. Like,
yeah.
ending on a good note.
And
Like, Because like I bet you anything with like the other people, they'd be like, no,
Yeah.
they wouldn't even work with you. Like,
Yep.
wow, like that is great customer service. That actually puts a smile on my face. That's really nice.
So that gets into the next point, number 2 of just top reasons or top mistakes that new comic collectors make. And that's just a lack of research, not understanding what it's like to really find the issues that you need. It took me up until 2 months ago to realize that at one point, Amazing Spider-Man stopped being released under the name Amazing Spider-Man and started being released under the name Spectacular Spider-Man for like 74 issues. And then it went back, and it's part of the legacy numbers. So I'm looking for a
Oh,
full
I
run
did
of
not know
Amazing
that.
Spider-Man. Yeah, I had no
Wow,
idea.
I thought they were just two separate series.
So there are some
Wow.
Spectacular Spider-Mans that are a whole separate series.
Hmm.
But, and let me pull it up so I don't get this wrong, because I've got my little lock and key safe on my phone of what I need. In 2013, so I was wrong, it's not 70 issues. In 2013, issues 701 to 733 were released under the name Superior Spider-Man, issues 1 through 33.
Oh.
And that is all part of the legacy numbering. Also, Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows from 2015, issues 1 through 5, are considered 752 through 756. There was also another
Wow.
series, Renew Your Vows, after that was not part of that same legacy numbering. So you have to really check and make sure that if you're trying to fill some gaps, you fill the right gap.
Yeah. I think that's another term for beginners, legacy. 'Cause I think
Yeah.
I told you like it was very recent that I knew what legacy was.
Same. It took me a long time. I'm like, what the hell is this LGY number underneath all of this? And someone goes, oh, that's legacy. I'm like, what do you mean legacy? And they're like, it's just, that's the number that it goes by. Like, that's in the whole grand scheme of it. That's the number. The run number is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The legacy number might be like 725. I'm like,
Yeah,
interesting.
just like with
So
Venom, 35, 200.
my buddy, who's also trying to, because he loves Spider-Man as much as I do. Well, probably not as much, but he loves Spider-Man just like I do. And he was talking to me, and he goes, so you picked up some Amazing Spider-Man books? I said, yeah. I picked up 505, 506. He goes, it only goes up to 441. I go, the first volume, yes. But Amazing Spider-Man right now is on 850. They just came out with a massive cover and a massive variance that's issue 49 in the current run. That's legacy number 850. And he looked at me and goes, what the fuck are legacy numbers? And I'm like, okay, you like this. I can't text this to you. You have to call me. I have
Come
to
to my
explain it
classroom.
that way. Yeah. I was like, you got to sit down for this one because this is going to take a little bit. And that lack of research led to him searching for all these books. And he thought he's got like 50, or no, he's probably got like 150 Amazing Spider-Man books from 1 through 441. None of the keys yet, none of the big keys, but some minor ones, and nothing in amazing shape. From what I know, there's like a couple 9.0s and higher, like 301 he has from his dad's collection. But he basically, he got a lot of them. So he's got a good size collection. And he goes, I'm like a quarter of the way done. I've got like 100 issues. I go, dude, I've got way more than 100 issues, and I'm only a quarter. And I've got 200 issues of Amazing Spider-Man, and I'm a quarter of the way done. He goes, there's only 400. You're a math teacher. 400 divided by 200 is half. I go, yeah, but they're on legacy number 850 right now, bro. He goes, no, they're not. I'm like, you can't argue with me. I pick them up every week.
Yeah. Yeah, Legacy was really confusing. I think like it was from I think it was your post. I think you posted on Instagram talking about Legacy or there was like a picture number had
Yes.
LGY. I think that's the day that day was the day I looked it up, like wait, like what is LGY or what is this? And that's when I looked it up and yeah, it's thanks to you, Chris, that I went it was that post that's like, yo, I gotta look this up and then I found out, oh my God, Legacy. And that's why Venom was saying 35-200. Yeah, it's that one. It's that one.
So I
He
was
did the
talking about
close up on it.
this Moon Knight issue is issue number 1 because the last run ended at 200. So this is issue number 1. When they put out issue number 2, one of the variants also has Legacy number 201 on it, but it's issue 2. So that's what I posted was, is this a mess? Like, did they screw up? And they did. It was actually a genuine screw up. So far, I think number 3 was my favorite. I see so many people jumping the gun. Definitely. Totally agree.
Time Traveler.
Time Traveler. It is just that's one of the things that a lot of us do. Like I've said before on my channel, my buddy who got into this, probably it was during COVID that he started getting into it because he got a Rick and Morty pinball machine and then just started collecting the comics. And he went from having no comics, no slabs, to 7 short boxes full of comics and one of those like square cubbies that are really popular now that you can get from like Walmart, to having 3 of those filled with slabs on their side. I was like, what? How did you do that? He goes, I just kept buying every slab, every 9.8 slab I saw for under $20. So you bought like 30 slabs for $20 each and they're all 9.8s. He goes, except for like a couple signature ones. Some of them I was like a signature one I was willing to go up to 40 or 50. But yeah, pretty much. And I'm like, what the fuck have you been doing? He goes, I just sit on eBay all day long. I search 9.8 CGC ending soon, $30 max. And I just bid. I go, smart idea. So maybe that will be my next one for YouTubers. If you want to do a giveaway, that's how you do it. And I'll dive into the details of that for one of my.
You should bring that friend on. You mentioned him so many times.
I want to.
Now I think the community wants to see him now. The one, the man, the myth, the legend.
Yes. I just gave him one of my Jamie Tyndall pieces of artwork for Harley Quinn that we bought him at the last comic festival we went to. It was his birthday today, so they're over there celebrating right now ahead of the big Halloween party tomorrow. And it was just really fun. He looks at it and goes, oh my God. And then goes, honey, I'm divorcing you and I'm marrying a caricature. And she goes, doesn't surprise me.
You said that in our vows.
He's got Hulk and Harley Quinn like up against each other as a tattoo on his thigh. And I go,
I was like, where is this going?
Weirdest. Yeah, that is the weirdest combination of like a crossover of comics that I've ever seen. But it's done really well. And he does wish that like it would have aged a little bit better. I think that tattoo over time kind of fell apart because it is a pretty old tattoo, but he definitely enjoys it. And Harley and Hulk are his favorites.
Yeah, like I would never ever think that crossover would ever happen. It's like too unlikely. No. But now I'm curious to see what that looks like. Would they make good babies? Would the Joker be jealous of Hulk, or would he ever step up to Hulk?
So never be the Dwight and regret your decisions.
No, 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 no. No!
Oh man, I thought you were gonna show the full clip. I was just
The billboard.
oh god, I love the billboard.
Gotta keep
Like
it
I was
PG.
thinking of like oh after Hoarders
Oh,
conversation, we have to keep it PG now.
I don't know. The comments I think are okay to be PG-13
Yeah,
because I'm not in control of what people say.
yeah. But yeah, I
But
love that episode. I love that like opening
oh
because I
yeah.
was thinking like, who takes photos like? And
Um,
if anyone doesn't know context, look that up. I'm blanking on the
definitely.
episode name. You gotta check that scene. Just probably
So
type in the office billboard scene.
yeah,
Is worth your time.
or just I typed in Dwight no and that came
Oh
up.
yeah, there we go. Yeah.
So
Oh
number
yeah,
one, getting scammed. Don't get scammed. If it sounds too good to be true, it's too good to be
it
true.
is.
And that goes for pretty much all collecting, in all honesty. I'm sure VK, if you're still on, buddy, that you can completely agree with card collecting and pretty much any kind of collecting. People who have been collecting for years will tell you there are a bunch of people out there who will scam you and will not think twice about it.
Oh yeah. I will. I'm fortunate. I'm lucky that I haven't gotten scammed. I never will. If I do, we'll have to have another series of these, and I'll tell you.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of
With
people scamming, especially on eBay, is what I've heard too.
mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I remember Max was saying that story that how she saw, I think it was something killing the children, one of them things. There was two
Yep.
separate postings, but it was the exact same picture. And I think she said
Oh wow.
but there was listing different prices, and I think she said it was a top that was purposely being cut off, and she was suspecting that something is wrong with the damage, that there's something wrong with the top, and the person's purposely leaving that part of the picture out. And
Hmm.
she noticed that it was similar photos on there's one the same guy selling at different grades. That's a little sketchy. I was like, wow.
So with that being said, if anyone would like to buy an Ultimate Fallout issue 4 for $3,000, it's ungraded, but it definitely will be worth that. I guarantee it. For those of you who don't know, the Ultimate Fallout 4 reprint, the only difference that you can really see is this Marvel logo right here. It on the
Yeah.
original, it wasn't red. And then also this barcode was off to the side more, and there was actually some coloring next to the barcode. It was pretty much like
Yeah.
here.
If anyone wants to buy a first appearance of Moon Knight, pay attention to where my fingers are. Purposely covering this.
Yep.
This is how I initially wanted to show you when I first got it. It's like, yo, check this out.
That's exactly what people do, though. I mean, that's
Like
exactly
they
how
do like
people
close
do it.
up, like
Yeah.
on, like they would do like a proto of, like, damn, like there we go. It's kind of hard to see on a small screen. They won't
Yep.
show the price. They won't show the pricing at all. They'll probably cut it off right
Mm-hmm.
here, like to show the 30, but right here, no. Or they won't even show it here.
Yeah, look at how good this spine is. You can totally tell exactly how good it is, right?
I mean, you know, it's sketchy
Like,
too if it's like the photo looks like this, Chris, like from far away.
yep,
So you can't tell how like the colors are enhanced.
yep.
Yeah, people like it's funny like now that like when I hear these stories, I like look it up on my. Oh, hey Max. Ew.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Congratulations. Yeah, it's funny like how some people do scams.
Yeah. I had no idea that there was an Amber who had a channel and that there was a episode of my favorite show. So I will have to go check that on the replay, just like Promiscuous Time Traveler said.
Yeah, Amber has good content.
Yeah.
I think it's like Cash and Creamers. That's her channel.
Okay. Good to know. If you guys want to drop it in the chat, you're more than welcome to. And anyone who wants to drop their link in the chat, go ahead. It's all about growing together. We want to follow each other and watch
If you
each
want to
other's
drop your
content.
album, if you want to drop your
Yeah.
album, mixtape in the chat, feel free.
EP, whatever you have available. Tomorrow I'm putting out my first EDM album. You know, is what it
It's
is.
dope. It's fire. Like, you go see Chris at EDM Festival, Lollapalooza. He's going to drop that beat. It's like, ding, 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 ding. Welcome to the Comics Lounge. Ding, ding, ding.
I will say though, tomorrow I actually am putting out a Halloween EDM mix.
Oh, shit.
I did this. So I did it 4 years ago now on my other channel when I used to have a motorcycle channel, and I was making one for my house. And I saw that there was a bunch of them on YouTube. And I'm like, oh, and they all say free. So you can take them, splice them together, do what you want with them. And it's basically just a free Halloween projection that you'd put what you want to it. I'm hoping that YouTube doesn't like say, hey, this is blocked because there's unlicensed music in it. But I'm praying that it doesn't, because I did split up most of it and whatnot and play around with it. And I basically turned it into Marvel Zombies EDM. So it's got a lot of zombie vibe. It's got some Marvel Zombies in it throughout. There's not enough Marvel Zombies to really make an hour-long mix make it work. So I did a lot of like just zombies banging on windows and whatnot. But
that's so
it
cool.
should be a really fun experience, and that will be coming out tomorrow on the channel. Like I said, my other one got like 7,000 views. It still grows to this day, right around this time of year, every single year.
Oh,
At
that's gonna be
first, it was like, go ahead.
That's gonna be on my playlist now.
At first, it was like 1,000 views in the first 2 weeks, and then even after that channel has just like been laying dormant. At the beginning of last year, it was at like 6,000 views. Now it's at like 7.7 thousand views. So it continues to grow, and it's weird how it grows, because obviously we know the YouTube algorithm like just doesn't throw new videos in. And the SEO, I had no idea how to do SEO back then. I've thought about like increasing the SEO on it just to see if that boosts it a little bit more, but I don't really care.
What's the SEO?
It's probably like 5 out of 100.
I mean, what is it?
Oh, so SEO is for YouTubers. That's another. Everything that's evil in the world has an algorithm for it. SEO is search engine optimization. So you want to have the right tags, the right hashtags in your description. You want your description to match your title. You want your title words in the description, and you want your tags to be mentioned somewhere in the description and the title. And pretty much if you do all of that, we back?
Yeah. You
Okay.
paused right when you said, once you do that, I was like, damn it. Right on the good for waiting for that beat to drop, and it doesn't drop.
Yeah. So if it's like when you make your video as visible as it possibly can be for YouTube. Exactly. That's pretty much
seems
the
like a
best
lot
way
of
to sum it up.
steps.
It really isn't, in all honesty. So typically what I do is I make the title. I make sure that there's some really nice buzzwords in it. So like for this one, it's going to be Halloween EDM mix, dance party, Halloween, whatever. I can't remember the exact title I gave it. And then I'm going to copy and paste that title, put it in the description, because that gets you 20 points towards your SEO. The title or the words being in the description gets you 20 points for your title. your hashtags then get you more below it. So like it all works together, and then you just have to go down to your tags and type in the tags that you put in the title and the description.
Wow. That's really interesting.
The hardest part is getting it to become clickable, and that's when your actual what's it called, the thumbnail comes into play, and you want to use yellows and greens that stand out with a simple background. So if you notice,
Huh.
like my level up video and the one I just did, I can't remember exactly what the green word was. That was all what's it called? That was all yellow and greens.
Hmm.
So
That's
that right there
interesting.
immediately helps you out. Apparently,
Wow,
the
now I need to
brain
get-
works and sees yellow and green a lot easier, and it makes you want to click on that material.
Oh, that's weird. Because in fast food restaurants, yellow, they use yellow so people don't stay long.
Yeah.
But now
And
it's
then they
funny, like for
use
videos, it attracts you.
Mm-hmm. And then like the reason Burger King changed from red to orange or vice versa was because one of them, like the one that they changed to, is you're more likely to go there to eat.
Yeah.
It's just the
It's
way
so
that we've trained our brains.
Yeah, it's so interesting to know that like colors do certain colors do something to your brain. It's like red, like people become more attracted to red.
Yeah.
I think people are just men. It's either people or just men. I forgot what the subject was. Because I
Women
know
are
it's like one
attracted
of
to
the two.
shiny objects, and men are attracted to anything that is food.
Yeah. Maybe that's why you love Spider-Man so much because he's red.
Maybe. Who knows? But yeah, so those are our top 5 reasons or top 5 mistakes that new collectors make, and how to get over that hump of not making those mistakes anymore. And like I said, tomorrow I'm going to be dropping that awesome video. Next week I'm going to be dropping part 3 of the series that I started this week, which got a lot of good feedback in the comments. I was actually very happy with how many people were enjoying those. As always, thank you guys for lounging with us. My Wi-Fi is starting to go spotty, so I don't want to keep you guys any longer and worry about it too much and just give you guys a horrible viewing experience. So thank you all for lounging with us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
See you, time
And
traveler.
hope everyone has a great Halloween. Don't eat too much candy.
Yeah. Eat it in spurts.
Yes.
And steal it from your kids.
They're like, Dad, what happened to my candy? Like, I don't know. Like, as you're eating, like, I don't know what happened to it.
That's okay, Max. Go back and watch the replay. We're going to go back and watch your replay. So you can always go
Yes.
back and watch ours. Happy Halloween to everyone. Always
Yes,
good to
happy
see
Halloween.
everyone in the chat. Thank you so
Great
much.
to see you too,
We
Max.
will talk very soon. As always, every Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern, we hope to see you here. Have a good night. Stay nerdy, comic fam.
Yes, thank you.
That's a good one.
Yes. That's what I do every year.
There you go.
Do we have time for this? Ladies and gentlemen, I have in my hand a copy of tonight's top 10 list, the category Top 10 Things I Would Have Called My Truck
It was never your truck.
if Ted hadn't been a jerk and given it back.
It was a rental.
Number 10, the Winnebago. Number 9, the pickup truck. Number 8, the Ford Explorer. Number 7, the U-Scream truck. U-Scream truck. Number 6, Feels on Wheels. Hello. Number 5, the Ride Her truck. Number 4, the 18 Squealer. Number 3, the Escalade. Number 2, the Slamboni. And the number 1 thing I would have called my truck if Ted hadn't been a jerk and given it back, the 69 Chevy.
Sorry.
Ba-da-da-da.